What would you call someone who never laughs?
That bloke.
Yeah, right. He hasn't cracked a smile all evening, has he? No.
He might be dead. Nudge him.
Yeah.
Are we looking for a sort of phobia word?
Yeah, agelastic, meaning that they don't laugh. And there are people who don't have it, who, it seems, have no sense of humour.
can't laugh.
Well, who knows? I mean, there's a sort of epilepsy where you... a lot, which is an unusual affect.
Shock, that was shocking.
It's giving you a shock.
I've got an interesting sort of Greek-type word for something that I do sometimes where I can't help the sort of urge to do an impression of somebody. And sometimes if somebody's got, like, a limp or a bit of a funny walk, I kind of want to go along with it, which is a terrible thing to do. And apparently, when you do this thing of wanting to take on somebody's limp in an inappropriate way, it's called echopraxia.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
if you do it with words, with trying to imitate a person sort of verbally, it's echolalia. That's great,
very
isn't it?
Points.
Yes.
Points.
Isn't that great?
Brilliant.
It's also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's called taking the piss as well.
Yeah.
Well, it almost defines being a human, doesn't it, laughter? Because animals don't laugh.
Yeah.
They don't have that capacity to sort of put the two things together.
Very, very social as well. It's a very social sort of...
Yes.
People tend not to laugh on their own. Like, even watching a show as hilarious as this.
Yes.
At home on your own, you won't laugh in the same way as the studio
No.
audience. It's why people often think it's sort of canned laughter rather than you are genuinely laughing at bits.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't if there were anybody here. But
Yeah.
Because there's that sort it's a very social thing. You're sort of
Yes, you're
showing
right.
someone else that you get the
Yeah.
thing and you understand.
Absolutely, it is a communal thing. There are people in history who are said to be agelastic, including Isaac Newton, who was supposed to have laughed once in his life. When someone asked him
that
what...
fell on his head.
No. Someone asked him what was the point of studying Euclid, and he burst out laughing at that.
Yeah, no, that is a good one, though.
That is a good one.
What is he like?
According to Marshal Zhukov, Stalin, next door, he didn't laugh. And
I'm
next
amazed
to-
at that. He seems such a chirpy cat.
And then
can't tell behind his
you probably
moustache, he could be
spotted
chucky.
Jonathan Swift and William Ewart Gladstone.
Jonathan Swift, a very funny writer, so...
I know,
Lots of
bizarre thought.
comedians don't laugh.
Spinoza.
You know, lots of comedians are quite miserable in real life, aren't they? Not us, obviously.
The bloke on the left and the bloke on the middle are the same.
On the left, he's been on the diet.
That's an advert for the Chin Gym.
Yeah.
The one on the left is Isaac Newton,
That's Newton, right?
and the one in the middle is Jonathan Swift. Trollope, on the other hand, Anthony Trollope...
Couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, he died giggling, apparently. He laughed a lot.
Didn't he work in the post office? That's probably what
He did.
He went postal. He was...
Yeah, he invented the postbox.
yes.
And lived to regret it, actually.
Because once he was in, he couldn't get out.
He was sorry for a very odd reason, actually. He was very old-fashioned about what women should and shouldn't do. And what he hadn't predicted was what the post office would suddenly allow women to communicate with anyone freely. Because before the postbox, they would have to go to their father or a servant who would put the stamp on, and it would be taken. And suddenly they were able to send their own letters and have relationships without their parents' consent. And he resented this.
What has he done?
It is a law of unintended
Unintended
consequences,
consequences.
exactly. Bizarre thought. Anyway,
Good
quite
old
irrelevant.
Trollope.
There are theories of laughter. There's the superiority theory, which is the sudden glory we feel when we see someone suffer.
It's very
That's a
simple, the
crazy game.
superiority theory, but a lot of people don't understand it.
Very good. There's the incongruity theory. It arises when the decorous and logical abruptly dissolves into the low and absurd. We wouldn't farting well want that. For example. Not that I would say that. The relief theory, which is Freud. The naughtiness of the joke liberates the laughter from inhibitions about forbidden thoughts and feelings.
That's watching Jackass for me, I do.
Yeah. You've written a book about it. What was The Naked Jape?
The Naked Jape. I wrote a book with my friend Lucy about jokes and the nature of jokes.
Did you come to a theory about...
No, I mean, they are all... You can analyse... There's all these different sort of theories from around the world, and they're all pretty much nonsense.
Yeah.
They all work in exactly the same way, though. All jokes are sort of two stories. So the first story makes you make an assumption, and then the second story makes you
Subverts it,
realise
yeah.
that the assumption was...
I like the one that
erroneous.
the Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman go into a pub and the barman says, what is this, some kind of joke? A A meta joke.
Yeah. When I told them I wanted to be a comedian, they laughed. Well, they're not laughing now.
That is
It's Monkhouse.
Bob Monkhouse, yeah. That's a brilliant.
But it's hard when you're writing about comedy to make it funny as well. Were you trying to be funny as you went along, or do you just...
In the end, we just had to put a joke on every page because some of it's a bit sort of more complicated. And there's a great quote about analysing jokes is like dissecting a frog. No one's that interested, and the frog dies.
Yes. Yes. Putting up the roots of a plant to look how it works.
Yeah, and killing it as you do it, exactly. Anyway, agelast are people who don't laugh at gags.